Hello, everyone attending. I'm just going to give everyone another minute or so just to get settled, and then we'll begin here shortly. Hello, everyone. My name is Dion Cook. I work in member services at AVIXA, and welcome to Sony's new intelligent settings for its laser projector series, presented by Anthony Sanfrano, Product Manager, Professional Displays of Sony Imaging Products and Solutions Americas. Before I hand the presentation over to Anthony, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. First, for those viewing today live, today's webinar qualifies for one CTS, CTSD, and CTSI renewal unit. Please allow 5 to 7 business days to view on your transcripts. If you have any issues with this, please email webinars@avixa.org. This webinar will be approximately 45 to 60 minutes long, and all attendees will be placed on mute. If you have any questions during the presentation, please answer them in the Q&A window, only so today's moderator can address them at the end of the webinar. To access the Q&A window, simply move your cursor to the bottom of your live stream video box to locate the Q&A icon and type away. You will have access to this recorded webinar at avixa.org/webinars in about 5 to 7 business days. Now to Anthony Sanfrano. Take it away.
Thank you, Dion, and thank you for everybody online that's joined this presentation. As Dion introduced me, I'm Anthony Sanfrano. I'm the product manager for our professional displays. And I'd like to take you through a presentation today that talks about our intelligent settings and some of the automatic functions and features that we have in our projectors. So the agenda looks like this. We'll talk about Sony's laser projector development over the years, over the last 7 years or so. The automatic functions that we've introduced over that same time frame, and then talk about our latest innovation, which is called intelligent settings, and then an enhancement of that, which is the intelligent settings 2.0. So this is a look of our laser projector development chronology, if you will, over the time. And in 2013 is when we first introduced the world's first 3LCD and laser projector, laser phosphor and 3LCD system. Everything that was on the market at that time was a single chip device. And when we introduced this product, the color reproduction was fantastic compared to the competition, and it was a huge success in the market. In 2014, we introduced the world's brightest 3LCD and laser phosphor projector called the F8Z700L. 2015 saw the F8Z65 and 60, and that was the world's quietest laser projectors. And that chassis that supported those models was actually a platform for several models to follow. There's several models at different brightness capacities and different resolutions, WXGA and WUXGA. 2016, the laser phosphor technology migrated into the 4K visualization and simulation projectors. In 2017, we introduced the world's most affordable basic installation projector called the P8Z10. Its price performance factor was very well received, and it was a huge success in the market for us. 2018, we introduced the 12,000 and 9,000 lumen projectors. In 2019, last year, we introduced the F8Z 70 and 75, which was the world's first intelligent setting projectors. And now we've increased the lineup in 2020 to have a lower cost laser projector to really fill our lineup from entry all the way to high end. So let's take a look at the laser phosphor light engine and how that works. So the laser-based light sources offer virtually maintenance-free operation. And that maintenance-free operation kind of opened the door for other technologies that enhance the hang it and forget it concept. So that's the ideal for a projector, is to have no maintenance. You hang it and install it, and you don't have to mess with it anymore. So the layout of the system is devised of an array of blue laser diodes that are focused through a lens and aimed at a phosphor element that glows white light, just like a lamp would, but in this case, it's generated by a laser phosphor combination, refocused with the lens and then into the optical path. The white light is then separated into the blue and green channels by dichroic mirrors, and all three color channels are recombined and modulated at the LCD panels, and then through the prism and out through the lens to the screen. So going back to this same chart, I'd like to show you some of the other innovations that were introduced along the same timeline. So in 2013, we saw the auto light dimming function added to the laser projector series. 2015, auto filter cleaning. Reality creation was added to these models. Auto color calibration. Auto high altitude cooling. And then last year, the intelligent settings. So I'm going to go and describe each one of these so you understand how each one of these things work, and kind of set the stage for where the intelligent settings is today. So auto light dimming is a function that detects the input signal and controls the laser light output. So you can see on the y-axis here, this is laser power in wattage, and on the x-axis is time. So the graphic shows that a presentation of a dog in the field is being shown, and after about 10 seconds of time, it slowly starts to decrease the output power of the laser. This slow decrease down to 85% is hardly noticeable by the human eye. The next time threshold is selectable by the user in 5, 10, or 20-minute increments. Once that slide or the signal is static for that long of a time, it takes the next step. And this decay of power over time is more gradual, but goes down to around 5% of the output power. Once the signal is detected to change, for example, if you advance the slide or even moving the mouse it'll be detected as a signal change, it goes right back up to 100%. So this is achieved by monitoring the input signal and precise control of the laser light output. It offered lower TCO by saving power. And because we can control the laser output so precisely, it returns right back to 100% as soon as the signal changes. Auto filter cleaning is a time detection. It's activated, it's automatic and activated based on detection of time. The time threshold is 100 hours. After the 100 hours elapses, and when a power cycle is detected, in other words, going from on to standby, it will activate a motorized plunger, if you will, that taps the filter and knocks any accumulated dust away from the filter. This system is more reliable than other auto filter cleaning systems that have been introduced in the market. Other than the motorized plunger or tapper, it doesn't have any other moving parts. It could also be activated more often manually. If you're in a dusty environment, you don't have to wait for the 100 hours. And the 100 hours was chosen as the activation threshold because it's not really a very long period of time. And so there's not a lot of dust accumulation during that period of time. So it's very effective at keeping the filter clean. The next automatic feature, if you will, is called reality creation. And that utilizes advanced signal detection technology and picture processing. So you can see in the graphic that the input signal is applied to the projector and analyzed every pixel in every direction. Then that's compared to a database, and using an algorithm, it can identify certain picture elements such as flesh tones, as you can see in the graphic here of the girl with the baseball bat. It's detecting her flesh tones. The picture pattern of the boy's shirt is being detected and recognized as a type of a pattern that's utilized. And then the colors of the cup here. So taking that database comparison of the picture elements, it can reproduce an image as close as possible to the original uncompressed image. So each frame, the picture elements are extracted, recognized by utilizing a rich database, and then the signal is optimized by an algorithm to reproduce the original image accurately and with clarity of detail. Auto color calibration. This is again achieved by an internal light sensor to measure the current color condition and then provides feedback to the auto calibration adjustment. So when the projectors leave the factory, they are profiled, and that profile of the original condition is stored in the projector. In 500 hours, it will automatically turn on if you set it to auto on. It will automatically detect the time threshold and start a auto calibration routine. And what it does is it compares the original condition with the current condition and then adjusts accordingly to bring it back to its factory level of color reproduction. This function can be started manually if you don't want to wait the 500 hours. If you notice some color shift and want to bring it back to the original, you can start it instantly. Again, it will compare the current condition to the original condition and then adjust accordingly. If that calibration function didn't come out properly or something went wrong, you can always return to the previous data, the previous calibration data. And then there's also a reset function, and this will take it back to that factory profile. However, if there's any change over time because of the color change or color shift, it's going to go back to the factory, and that's not going to really, calibrate it necessarily. It'll bring it back to the factory condition, but we would prefer to use the current condition calibrated to the factory's original condition. This maintains color accuracy over the life of the projector, and automatic activation is available after 500 hours, or it can be activated manually. This is the auto high altitude cooling. And just to give a little background here on this, most projectors, including ours, have a setting for high altitude mode. And it's basically an on-off switch that increases the fan speed. So there's no in between. It's either on at a lower speed or it's on with a higher speed. So what auto high altitude did, it utilizes a atmospheric pressure sensor to calculate the required airflow or the fan speed. So this optimizes the airflow based on the actual conditions and uses a ramped increase of fan speed rather than an on-off setting. One of the things is that it prevents setting the high altitude mode. Some customers don't know that there's a high altitude mode setting available, or they guess. They don't know whether it should be on or off. They don't know what high altitude means for them. For us, it's 1,500 meters. That's our threshold, but customers would not know that, and they'd have to ask. So this prevents that issue from happening. And then, of course, the whole reason behind this is the proper cooling protects the components and the reliability. If you look at the graphic to the left, the high altitude mode set to auto, you can see as the atmospheric pressure is detected, it increases the fan speed in this linear fashion up to the maximum. The trade-off, of course, with fan speed is noise level. So on the y-axis, you see noise level increasing as well as the fan speed. But when you compare that to the on-off setting, you're either all the way increased fan or not. And so the acoustic noise is not compared necessarily to the optimum position or optimum setting. Now I'd like to introduce the intelligence setting. So what I talked about previously were some of the automatic functions that are built into the projector. This has taken that same concept and advancing it into a set of installation parameters that prioritize certain settings for the environment. So there's 4 preset settings: multi-screen, entertainment, meeting, classroom, and museum. And each one of those has a different priority. In the case of multi-screen, color matching is the priority. In the case of entertainment, it's long-term usage and brightness priority, and so forth, that you can see on the screen here. So the 3 things that are being adjusted here are the light output, the cooling system, and the picture settings. These optimize the setting and maximize performance. Now, this was first introduced on the 2 models, the FHZ70 and FHZ75 last year in 2019. But we're rolling this function out into other projectors. Now the high lumen projectors incorporate this function as well as the new version of this, which I'll describe here in a second. So this functionality leverages Sony's long-term experience in laser projector development and usage analysis. So that's a key part of this, is that we understand how projectors are used in certain environments and what is the best setting for those environments. And that's what this does. It offers the best balance of settings for specific applications. Let's take a look now at some of the comparisons with the lamp model and how the brightness or light output changes over time and what intelligence settings it provides as an advantage. So you can see that with a lamp-based model, the brightness decay is fairly rapid over time. With the laser projectors, as we have all come to learn, it has a much longer decay time and can extend the brightness, much longer in time. Color stability and brightness is an advantage of the laser projectors. Now this is a comparison of the same lamp model with a conventional laser model, one with no intelligence settings, and then a laser model, which is with intelligence settings, which is the green line. So you can see that by using the intelligence settings, the brightness decay over time is less aggressive and extends the life even longer than the typical or conventional laser model. So going back to the 4 preset settings: meeting, classroom, museum, entertainment, and multi-screen. Those are the 4 settings that users can select based on their application or their environment. So intelligence settings prioritize these parameters for each application and applies the optimal settings for each. We make assumption for the annual usage hours, the quietness of the environment, the optimal cooling level, the optimal light output level, color fidelity, richness of color, and image detail. So you can see on the left-hand side, with the star charts, the parameters are adjusted accordingly based on the environment. So let's look at each one of these individually. For the meeting classroom setting, we want to prioritize the light output level, the image detail, and quiet operation. And you can see on the star chart how that is shown graphically. Classrooms and meeting rooms, the priority is quietness of the environment, so that's something that is prioritized. The optimal light level is also prioritized, and detail of the image. In that case, the cooling is decreased a little bit to make sure that the quietness of the environment is achieved. So you know that projectors should not be distracting. The usage hours is relatively low in comparison to an entertainment venue or a museum, for example, where it's on all day and so on. The menu on the left-hand side shows you how you select this. In the menu, there's an intelligent settings menu item, and you break out into the 4 different settings that you can choose. This is a look at the museum setting. Here it's a quiet environment, but maybe not as quiet as the classroom and meeting room. So we can give a little bit more on the cooling level. So you see that the optimal cooling level is a little bit increased. Museums require stable color fidelity to preserve the artist's or the exhibit's intention. So that is prioritized in this setting. The usage hours is longer, and so you can see on the star chart that the usage hours is increased. The assumption of usage hours is increased. And museums and this type of exhibits usually have control over the lighting. So we can give a little bit on the optimal light output level. So this setting prioritizes cooling, color fidelity over light output and sound level. Taking a look at the entertainment setting, here we want to have rich colors, and these type of venues are typically not sensitive to quiet operation. So we can, but the usage hours are quite high. So we can adjust the parameters accordingly for this type of environment. So this setting prioritizes cooling and richness of colors over quietness. And then finally, the multi-screen setting. Here, this is chosen when using more than one projector to create very large images or unique aspect ratios by either edge blending or edge budding. In that type of installation, when images are right next to each other, any kind of color differences are very easy and to see, very apparent. So this setting prioritizes color matching, uniformity, and stable operation. And you can see on the star chart on the left how those are prioritized and then optimized. So this is a recap of the intelligent settings. So what's actually changing inside? We're changing the picture setting, we're changing the fan speed, and we're changing the laser output. What's the benefit to the customer? He gets the optimal picture setting for the location, the optimal brightness curve for the location, a lower failure rate, and the optimal noise level for the location. You can see in the chart below, everything either has a low or very low failure rate. Noise level is one of the things that is variable based on the environment. So you can see it goes from low, middle, and high. And then the priorities in the number 1 column. The brightness first is the offsetting. Meeting classroom is clarity first. Museum, accurate color first. Entertainment, vivid color first, and multi-screen uniformity first. And the other column here, you can see the typical brightness curves, how they decay and extend over the life of the product. Now, The new models that we've introduced recently, which are the 13,000, 10,000, and 9,000 lumen projectors, have what we call intelligence settings 2.0. So this takes the intelligence setting one step higher in intelligence, and we change inside the same type of things, the picture setting, the fan speed, but the laser output control is improved in that it actually monitors the usage of the projector and adjusts accordingly. So the customer benefit, ordinary meeting classroom customers can maintain brightness for a long time. So if you look at the graphic here on the bottom right, you'll see three different curves. The intelligence settings off curve is the gray line. So this is just with no intelligence setting at all. With intelligence setting 1, if you remember from the previous slides, that prioritizes brightness and de-emphasizes cooling to achieve the quiet environment. Well, that's not so good for the laser life over time. So you can see that that light blue line kind of decays more rapidly. So what happens with intelligence setting 2 is it actually monitors the usage and then adjusts accordingly. So I'll show you on the next slide how that happens. Every 6 months, the projector will check and see the usage hours and then adjust the laser output accordingly. In this case, where you see the blue, dark blue line, the projector is not being used very much. The projector detects it's not being used that much, so it can boost up the laser output to maintain that even decay curve. In the other case, after another 6 months of time passes, it checks again and realizes that now the projector is being used more often. And so in order to keep that line linear decay, then it adjusts by turning the laser output down. So the goal is to keep a nice linear, slow decay time over time. And that's what this achieves. So in summary and conclusion, I got a few points here that I want to re-emphasize. Sony's laser projectors are equipped with various internal sensors working with high precision control. I described a few of them. There's others that I didn't mention. There are temperature sensors, set position sensors. We have a sensor that can detect whether the projector is installed upside down or right side up and flip the image accordingly. Lens mounting sensors to ensure that the lens is mounted properly and not causing a problem that way. The brightness and color sensors I talked about with the auto calibration function, as well as various sensors to ensure brilliant monitoring and control. The intelligence settings are the latest innovation from Sony to really achieve this low maintenance, install it and forget it kind of concept. The maintenance-free operation, the ease of use, superior picture quality, and long-term reliability ensure that projection remains an excellent large format display choice with a high value proposition. So as we all know, there's a lot of different technologies that are achieving large format display. The projector offers really the best bang for the buck for large screen sizes. So projector technology is stable and viable and here to stay for quite some time. Our Sony laser projector landing page is sony.com.laser. I welcome you to please go to the website and learn more about our projectors. We have a full lineup and many different options for lensing and colors, resolutions, brightness, capacity. All can be found on the website. And then there's a intelligent setting white paper that I will put the link into the chat box, and you can download a white paper that goes into a lot more detail about intelligent settings that I provided in this presentation. But I welcome you to also download that white paper. It's very interesting. And that concludes my presentation. We have time now for some questions and answers, if there are any.
Yeah, Anthony, I've been watching. We got a few have come in. One of them is asking, how much latency does the reality creation add?
That's a very good question, and I don't know the answer off the top of my head. It's minimal, I know, because we use that in many different products, including Bravia TVs and home theater projectors. It's been developed over many, many years, but I do not have the exact answer, so I will have to get back to that attendee's question.
Okay. Another question, since it's maintenance free, does that mean you do not need replacement parts?
That's correct, yes. Our projectors are covered in a 5-year warranty. The laser projectors are covered by 5-year parts and labor warranty. There are no user replaceable parts during that time.
Right. Another question. Why does the entertainment setting have vivid colors when almost every calibration tool for movies usually does the opposite?
This is for an entertainment venue, like a theme park or a type of venue where vivid colors are really what the audience is looking for. It's not intended to be theatrical. So that's why we emphasize vivid colors in that particular application.
Okay. In the meeting room classroom setting, what would you define as low usage? I think this may be useful setting in a classroom, but most cases rooms are used from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Right.
They did a study and came up with some debatable parameters. I have a slide that shows that actually here. So they did a study and determined that over 60% of the projectors in classrooms are used less than 1,000 hours per year. Now, I know there's attendees probably online here that are saying, that's no way. I can't debate this. I don't know that that's true or not. What was the question, Drew? I'm sorry, I got off track here.
I was just saying, you know, in the meeting classroom setting, what would you define as low usage? Most cases rooms are used from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, so they determined low usage is 1,000 hours per year.
Okay.
And I know that that is a debatable.
Another question, how many times longer than regular lamp hours? So I guess they're asking, what is the longevity of the laser versus, you know, regular lamps?
Yeah, 4 to 5 times longer. Lamp life has improved over the years, and projectors were getting probably around 4,000 hours out of it. So our laser light source is rated for 20,000 hours to half brightness. So that's approximately 5 times the lifetime of a lamp. Of course, the other important point is that the lamp decay was very rapid. So it went to, you know, half brightness very quick, you know, within that 4,000 hours. So the gradual decay over time has a longer average brightness over time.
Okay, another question. I think this applies to the Intelligent 2 settings. Your slide pointed out 6 months. This question is, can we change the 6 months to 1 month?
No, that's not one of the user selectable options. So the 6 months is determined to be the checkpoint time.
Okay. And again, I think this is going to the intelligence settings you showed. How would or could these settings benefit in the rental live event projection, given the lamp hours? Well, we're not lamp, but
Yeah, it just extends the life of the product over time. So it's the optimal settings for that type of environment based on the assumptions that we chose for um, cooling capacity, brightness, color reproduction, and those things.
Okay. And can any of the intelligent settings be manually disabled?
Yeah, you can turn them off. There's a selection to not use them at all if you don't want to. And in that case, you are left to choose the appropriate settings on your own, which is definitely what you can do by turning off the intelligent settings parameters.
All right. Are there any applications that one may not want a laser projector?
Well, I can't imagine why other than costs, but cost over time is not really an advantage either. So I can't imagine any reason why. Unless there's some safety concern or something, but really all these projectors are satisfy safety requirements for laser projectors. So I wouldn't even consider that a concern.
There are two here that are very similar. I'm going to combine them. Can the laser source be replaced by the end user? And then on top of that, if I hit 50% and want to go back to 100, does the projector need replacing? So they're kind of related?
Yeah, so the laser unit definitely can be replaced. However, it may not be cost effective based on the usage of time, right? If you're at the end of life after, 5 years and 20,000 hours, it may not be cost effective to replace the laser unit, but it certainly can be done.
But that would be a service center
Yeah,
replacement, not end user.
Yes, it's not user replaceable. And then that goes back to the safety issues with lasers. So that has to be done by a qualified service technician, not by an end user.
Okay. Just scanning one more time. I think we got a couple more here. What was the first Sony projector model to offer intelligent settings?
The VPL FHZ 70 and the VPL FHZ 75. They're sister products, different brightness capacities, but those were the first to introduce intelligent settings. Last year, we introduced those models at InfoComm.
Okay, and one more. So the automatic color calibration function, what technique is being used for that?
It's a sensor and feedback technique. So there's a light sensor that checks the color balance and then provides that feedback back to the processor that then makes adjustments to bring it back to its proper color calibration. So it's a feedback loop.
Okay. Last one, I guess. How many hours in between the automatic filter cleaning?
100.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that covers it. Wait, another one just came in. For similar brightness, are laser projectors more harmful than lamp projectors if looked into by the presenter or the audience?
Well, I wouldn't recommend looking into, I assume you mean off of the screen. I don't think there's any difference at all. Looking into the lens is a different subject, but I wouldn't recommend that in either case. Laser is more dangerous for that, that not very recommended use case.
Right. And I believe that's it. I don't see any other questions coming in.
All right, very good. I really appreciate everybody attending this presentation and learning about our products and some of the innovations that we've added to the product over time.
Okay, well, thank you, Anthony and Drew, and thank you to our members for joining today's webinar, Sony's new intelligent settings for its laser projector series. This recording will be available on avixa.org/webinars in about 5 to 7 business days, and your one renewal unit will be applied to your transcripts within those 5 to 7 business days. If you have any trouble, please contact webinars@avixa.org. And an important note for CTS holders, if you have registered for this webinar with any email address other than the one we have on file for you, you won't get credit for attending. Now, this can be corrected though. Please email your appropriate account rep and let them know that you used the wrong email address and we can correct it for you. So thank you to Sony, and a very huge thank you to Anthony for helping us to understand Sony's new laser projectors. We hope you enjoyed this, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.